Before heading to the video, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it and don't forget to click the bell icon for the latest update notification. If you like the video, do like, comment and share. Stay tuned with learnbay.co. Happy learning!
So see, that's also called confidence coefficient, okay, or confidence level. So these terms you'll see very frequently, and that represents probability percentage, okay. But if I have to say with respect to data, how can I say that? So confidence interval tells what percentage of the time the assignment of the interval value will be correct, but not what not the chances are that it is true for the given samples, okay. So let's take one example, then I'll explain. 95% confidence interval means that if we were to take 100 different samples, okay, I'm talking about N, capital N. If we were to take 100 different samples and compute a 95% confidence interval for each sample, then approximately 95% of the confidence intervals will contain the true population parameters, okay. Okay. What it means, you're saying that if you with 95% confidence interval, if you are coming up with a range, okay, there will be multiple values within that range, right? If I take a range of 5 to 10, okay, then what between 5 to 10 multiple values are there, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, depends if it's a discrete or continuous, but infinite values are there, right? So when I say 95% confidence interval, I mean that 95% times the values that will appear will be from this range 5 to 10. Is that clear?
No, can you please say that again?
Okay. So when you say, let's say you estimate a range of 5 to 10 for mean, okay. Let's say you say for your population, if your statement is like for your population, your range of mean value is 5 to 10, okay, with 95% confidence interval. So what that means, you are saying, you are not saying you are 95% confident that this value will be 5 to 10. You are saying it 95% of the times the values that will occur for my population will be from the range 5 to 10.
Can you explain this with an example?
Okay, maybe I'll illustrate that same. Let's
both
say
the statements are similar, right?
no, when you're saying you're 95% confident that this value will be 5 to 10, okay, you aren't giving actually so between 5 to 10 there could be infinite number of values, right? You still your range is fixed. You are saying 5 to 10 only, but what values you don't know, okay. See, you can relate something like this. If I go back here, when I say 68%, right, what I mean 68% of the points lies within first standard deviation. So that way, when you are saying 95% confidence interval, you are saying 95% of the points will be from this range. Okay, 95% of the points will be from the range you have picked up. You aren't saying that you are confident that 95% will be the value between 5 to 10. They are different, slightly different, not much. You try to recall yourself or rephrase that yourself, you'll have much clarity. Let's say you have estimated for your population parameter something 5 to 10. So between 5 to 10, assuming okay, between 5 to 10, it's possible multiple values, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and so on, and infinite, even continuous values you can consider, okay? So I'm not considering for time being. And if you say you're 90, you're considering, if you are considering 95% of confidence interval, that means 95% of the points that that the population, so it's 95% of the times that a population mean can be possible, or a population mean which can be possible it will be 95% from this values itself within this range. It can be the 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10. Okay, I think I'll leave this. Can you read this? It will give you much more clarity. Just read it once, take 2 minutes, read it, and then I'll explain again.
So can we define the length of range as well?
Yeah, we'll go to that. Okay.
In the normal distribution table, the diagram that you show, so the 68%, 95%, does that also represent the same?
Yeah, confidence interval. Okay, now let's see this way. So when you say 95% of the confidence interval, and if I go back to my problem like 5 to 10, if any values are there. So what I'm saying, within this 95% confidence interval, my 5 to 10 values will lie. If you take even any values between 5 to 10, that will fall within this boundary, within 2 standard deviation. Okay, that will not exceed my 2 standard deviation. Okay, make sense? Right. So yeah, this third line you can read basically. So you could see what we are talking. Different samples, basically 100 indicates your n here. So that's the case, but what happens sometimes, mostly we might not be knowing exact n, or we might take just one n, right? And any random sample and generate one confidence interval, right? So what will happen? Basically, we'll try to generate with less number of n, not optimal n or single n itself. We might try to do that. In that case, whatever we have estimated as a parameter for my population may not be right. Certainly, I mean, it's clear there will be error, right? Which could be, so our estimation may be above the actual parameter or below the actual parameter, and there will be some error. So how to handle that error and how to approximate that, we'll see that too. Just keep one thing again in mind. Again, I said, right, confidence interval, and there is a term called alpha. Okay. So this is a statistical fact. Okay, there are a few more facts. This is fact number 1 in the inferential statistics. The relationship between confidence interval and alpha is always 1. The summation of them is always 1. Okay, we'll see that always. Or I can also say alpha minus 1 is equal to what you could see here, 0.95. This 0.95 indicates coefficient of confidence coefficient or level of coefficient, and which is equivalent to 1 minus alpha. So in a normal distribution, you can visualize something. There's a concept of called one tail, two tail, which we'll be seeing more in detail from next classes. Just to give you an idea, in this graph, if we map the ever problem itself, what we'll see, if we are saying a 95% confidence interval, we are saying, okay, within this range, basically the values will fall, and this region will be termed as a region of acceptance. Okay, so any values from our range, if that falls within this confidence interval, that's acceptable value. But if anything that will fall beyond that, you'll see a lot of books. Again, this region will be marked as basically a region of rejection. Okay, so that boundary or the point across which we say region of rejection and acceptance region, that's termed as something called alpha. Or other way, the area of region of rejection is taken as alpha. Okay, so in few of the books, you'll see this shape in 3 different format. Okay, we are going to discuss about them later, not now. So somewhere you'll see something like this. Okay, something like this. This will be basically, so you won't see both side alpha, you'll be seeing one side only alpha. This region they'll indicate this is a region of rejection. Okay, when you say confidence, that is this part, rest part is region of rejection, and this will be termed as alpha. Okay, but the same thing, so here the boundary, so you are considering on just one tail of the graph. Whenever here what's happening in this graph, you have 2 tail, that's why something alpha is splitted into both the side, alpha by 2 this side and alpha by 2 this side, and this is 1 minus alpha. Summation or basically the total area will be always equal to 1. Okay, few terminology, the most focus you should as of now do it on. We'll see further more what we are seeing this all later on. As of now, this relation you should be aware of. Okay, and the terminology, 1 minus alpha is always equal to confidence level or coefficient of confidence, confidence coefficient, anything, and their summation is always 1. Okay, so when you say 95% confident in it, in confidence interval, we are talking about this portion. This is the acceptable region. Left out is, that's a rejection region. I can take a red color. This part will be rejection region. In few graphs, this is called 2-tail something. There's a concept of 1-tail, 2-tail hypothesis. So this is an example illustration of 2-tail, where you have basically in the both side of the confidence interval, you have a rejection region. In this graph, we have just one side of the confidence interval, we have a rejection region. Rest all are acceptable region for us. Okay. So something like this, you'll see this relationship, you just remember, that's important, right?
But what about the bottom labels, mu minus 2, sigma?
Yeah,
These?
that's right. So as we saw, right, you're up to 95% of the data points falls within 2 standard deviation from mean. That's what they mean. So somewhere this point indicates from your mean, it's just, okay, if I compare from this is 2 sigma. Okay, few books will also indicate just as a 2 sigma, but somewhere that basically means from the mean value plus 2 sigma, that is this actual point, right? So that's an exact 1 point we are referring to point. So somewhere you'll see just as a 2 sigma, somewhere mu plus 2 sigma, they both mean same. Okay, it's equivalent to here, right? Within 2 sigma you have 95%, here also within 2 sigma you have 0.95 confidence.